Brothers and sisters, we are gathered here today for a More Perfect Unions video on We Went to a Trump Rally. What we heard will shock you. But I don't think it will, though.
Extreme socialism, obviously, we'll all agree communism doesn't work.
Yeah.
But extreme capitalism, as we're seeing right now,
does not
with
work.
this corporate capitalism, also has its problems.
How much money is too much?
Okay, I mean, nothing wrong there so far. I mean, yeah, communism doesn't really work, but then capitalism has its flaws as well.
Money for one person.
It's a tough call. I know. When they have these billions, you're like, well, they really don't need it. Yeah, we agree with that.
Why Trump instead of Bernie Sanders?
What I look at is more progressives like the Bernie Sanders faction, stuff like that. We actually see a lot of the same problems.
And I would vote for a Bernie Sanders before I'd vote for like a Ted Cruz or a Marco Rubio.
What would it have taken for you guys to not?
Like, you would be on the complete opposite side of the spectrum versus playing along your conservative party ideals. That just goes to show, like, how much this one man's opinion really matters to you, huh?
Go into the rally and to instead.
Oh my God, this is like Dakota. Oh my God. That's like my brother from another mother, you understand? And this looks just like him, bro. I mean, he doesn't have a mullet, and I don't think he's balding, but fuck, dude, if he was, he'd look just like this dude.
Get ice cream with me, a flaming leftist.
Flaming leftist.
All right, I'm buying. We are polarized. There is no doubt about it. But I came to this Trump rally on a hunch. I've poured drinks at a Rust Belt dive bar for the last year, and when your county votes for Trump and the bartender looks like I do, people kind of assume that you're on the same page.
Yeah, you hate them too, right, brother? Back on the boat. Send them back. That's what we gotta do, right, brother? He's like, yeah. Sure. Cool. Here's your drink. Fuck. Yikes.
But sometimes you actually are. So here's my hunch. For all the focus on culture war issues, the working class on the left and the right have a lot more in common.
No shit. Yeah, of course. Of course. And I think it's so silly that people allow themselves to become so fucking entrenched in these ideologies and like this like us versus them mentality. It's disheartening to like it sucks because, you know, like these are just regular 9-to-5 folk, and at the end of the day they're being convinced that their neighbor is their fucking enemy. Like there's nothing more destructive to a community than splitting the seas like this.
Than we're led to believe. And if that's true, it could and should have huge implications for the upcoming presidential election. So I went to Erie, Pennsylvania to find out.
You know, I don't see any of these guys having a problem with RFK. I don't see any of these guys having a problem with RFK because RFK himself even said like the vaccine was like silly and so on and so forth. So like I'm pretty sure that he could win some of these guys over like that, but not that he's doing it for the sake of winning over people like that, but definitely there's a little something there. You know what I'm saying?
Are we rolling? Okay. We're here at the Trump rally today. Why did you come out today?
To support my 45th president. He didn't lose. He called out the Washington establishment, and I absolutely loved it. You know, he's definitely not a Republican because Mitch McConnell and them would be backing him, and DeSantis would be running against him. He's obviously not a Democrat no more, so we're more of a politically homeless faction that
like liberalist, or like the Purple Party. Some of you don't even know. Some of you didn't even know there's a fucking Purple Party. Don't act like you did. But yeah, like believe it or not, there used to be this one. I think it was called the Liberal Party, and it wasn't even like like I get it, like the Democratic Party is the Liberal Party at this point. But there used to be a point where like it was like the Liberalist or something like that, and then it was like its own party faction, and their color was yellow, and they used like a fucking, I don't know what animal they used.
that loves America,
But they used an animal.
and we'll make all the changes that we can to make it great.
Prices are just higher. Like you go to the grocery store,
Yeah.
I buy the same thing every time I go to the grocery store. I spend $102 at Aldi's. I was just telling my uncle this.
Yeah.
I'm spending over $200 now.
Yeah.
So things are more expensive. I think people are more scared.
Our money doesn't have no value, and that's why we're having problems. This whole inflation thing, it's been building and building for multi-decades, and it's getting close now.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're actually... No, are we in a recession? I think we're supposed to be in a recession right now. I think that's supposed to be the thing right now. Like, that's the latest economic trend in America, is that we didn't learn our lessons from the housing crisis and from all these other things. And once we stopped having sriracha, that's when shit really got bad.
You work at McDonald's, right?
I do.
Do you feel like you're getting everything out of work that you're putting into it?
I believe I should get paid more. All I am doing is I'm working my ass off to get my money. I'm a hard worker, and I feel like I deserve more.
For sure.
I work down in West Virginia.
100%, I agree with that.
On the rigs for evil Big Red, Halliburton.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Halliburton, we were 2 weeks on, 1 week off, so you never got to go home. We were the lowest paid of all the workers out there. I only made $13.50 when I got hired on.
What?
For Halliburton.
To be fucking working oil fields and shit? $13.50? No, that's crazy. Because what was this other dude? I watch a lot of Kill Tony, and he had like this one guy who would come on, and like I guess things probably got weird at a certain point. But essentially, his stage name was Uncle Laser, and this dude worked oil fields. But this motherfucker made bank on that shit. Like he did not seem like he was upset with his paychecks. Like he seemed like he had enough to like get away from that and like literally start a fresh career if he wanted to.
Yep. Probably wouldn't even have an Iraq war if it wouldn't have been for the Halliburton and Cheney and stuff. We were expendable. That's all it was. Halliburton, Big Red, they called it. You're just part of the machine, and the machine can be replaced.
As expendable as, you know, people who went over to fight a rich person's war in Iraq.
Yep, pretty much.
5 years ago.
You saw that? Did you guys see them connect there? Isn't that beautiful?
I came to the realization that I've been hoodwinked.
Yes.
I have zero respect for Dick Cheney. I have zero respect for George Bush.
100%. I don't think I ever had much respect for George Bush. And I mean, even less so. I mean, the war stuff was pretty bad, but it made sense because of the Twin Towers and that stuff. 9/11, you know, big deal. And so I get it, but then also like what? There's like questions of whether or not 9/11 was an inside job too. Like that's another conspiracy that's been floating around for a while. And a lot of people are really convinced because of the way the building is so funny. It's so funny how motherfuckers become engineers out of fucking nowhere. Like you don't even understand algebra, but you're here studying the structural integrity of a fucking building, acting like you know what the fuck's going on. I don't think 9/11 was an inside job. I do not think it was an inside job. I think it was individuals who were, you know, deeply entrenched in some belief and really felt as if America was the enemy and therefore took out their aggression in a very inappropriate, very wrong way. But that being said, it happened. I think that then leading into the Patriot Act is very fucking disgusting. I think the idea that we gave the government the power to spy on us whenever they want, I think that's horrible. I don't think that's right. And yeah, no respect for George Bush. But then also then you have like every fucking president. I mean, like honestly, like okay, look. What's this dude? Oliver Stone. I even have the fucking book because they took the series off of Netflix. It was like the Untold History of America or the Untold History of the United States. Very fucking great series, might I add. But he even goes into how like Obama did fucked up shit. But like Obama and his fucked up shit as far as like taking out people and like accidentally having like American lives killed and shit like that. Yeah, pretty bad. Just I don't think it's as bad as like, I don't know, like Trump cutting taxes for big corporations, or as bad as the Patriot Act, or as bad as fucking Biden, you know, fucking hiding the shit about his son's laptop and like doing like whatever fucking, or even as bad as Pelosi with the fucking like the fucking gaming the system and using her political, you know, stance or standing in order to benefit and make millions of dollars off of a fucking deal like that. I think all that shit's really fucking bad. I think you can't really compare that to Obama, but every single president has done some fucked up shit worthy enough of losing the people's respect. You get what I'm saying?
What did it for you there, and why did you end up going towards Trump?
It was a lie.
And this
they lied about the Iraq war.
Yeah. The whole fucking, what is it? The weapons of mass destruction. We need to make sure we get these weapons of mass destruction. Listen, there's an amazing movie. You need to see it. I don't know if it's called Dick or if it's called Cheney. It's one or the other. I'm pretty sure it's called Dick. And it's a great fucking movie. It shows you how like George Bush Jr. was he was just a puppet. He was just a puppet. Like we're talking about like one of the dumbest presidents. In fact, there's a thing that if you want to be president, or like on the road to becoming president. I remember like my history teacher told me this when I was younger. Part of it is becoming and being initiated into the Freemasons, right? And in becoming a Freemason, so on and so forth, you know, you have to do certain things, you have to learn certain things, and then you have to pass certain tests, right? Apparently, according to her, George Bush Jr. is the only president who failed those tests. Now, I'm pretty sure he still found a way to get initiated or, fucking let into the club. But I just think it's bewildering that, like, damn, dude, you were literally our dumbest president. Like, C average in the Ivy League you got bought into. I think that says something. It says a lot.
There was no reason for us to go into war in Iraq
No.
other
Oil.
than the military-industrial complex
It's just a conspiracy
wanted
theory,
the war.
The global corporations, do they have, the Goldilocks question: too much, just enough, or too little power? Where would you
I feel like
place
their
it?
only thought is more money,
Right.
more power. That's all you care. Whoever has the most money.
Obviously, it's
So,
too much.
Yep.
When
So-
you have a company like BlackRock that's worth $9 trillion,
And Vanguard's what?
Vanguard's $8
Yep.
trillion. Obviously, I'm not going to argue. There's a problem with that.
Yeah, don't say too much because they'll take your ass out, bro. They got way too much money to give a fuck about our opinions and our livelihoods. Like, you know what I'm saying? I did my decent amount of shit talking about BlackRock yesterday, and I could definitely say that you know what I'm saying, I might have to look over my shoulder every now and then. Not in here, but out there.
Do you think the finance sector, does it have too much power, just the right amount of power, not enough power?
Way too much power.
The financial sector.
100%. Yes.
And you know what sucks, man? What really sucks is that these individuals are bringing up points that, like, either side can argue, right? That, like, literally everyone else is saying, right? Like, everyone else talks about how, like, fucking crooked the banks are, etc. But I feel that, like, it's just like, bro, but you're rooting for Trump. Like, this dude's actually a criminal. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's crazy how you could see things so plainly, yet you still have the wool over your eyes.
These people really, a lot of these people, they don't realize are unelected officials. So all these politicians have this plan for how they're going to fix the economy, but then they just get in there, they don't do anything, and they're funded by the people, and those people are not elected, and they control the people that are elected.
What role do you think, the consolidation of these larger corporations? I came from an agricultural background, and now it'll be 3 or 4 companies that control the entire market for chicken, eggs, for beef.
That shouldn't happen.
Yeah. The working class has gotten beaten up because of the loss of small business.
Amen.
And my question would be, I would say, why aren't they here anymore?
As a small business owner, I feel like we
Good
aren't
plug, homie.
represented that much in America.
Do you see a problem with that kind of operation?
Oh, 100%.
When it's conscious.
Because the big guys are beating out the small guys, or even the family-owned businesses, easily.
A lot of that's driven by these really large corporations that are, just by their size, pushing the little guy out.
Yes.
How big of a problem do you think that is?
That's an ultimate problem. That reminds you of watching them westerns, movies when they would go to some small town and the one guy owns the bar, he owns the tack place, he owns that. Yes, there's so many houses for sale in our neighborhood. I was going to go to town and say, are these all, can we find out, are these just real people buying them, or is this like proxies? See, BlackRock proxies, Vanguard proxies.
Oh, I get it. Like, are these big corporations just going in and buying these properties to, like, I guess, I don't know, to fucking have their money into something else, so it doesn't look like they just have 9 trillion sitting in the bank, or are they doing it in order to manipulate maybe like the value of an area and then be able to make more money off of that manipulation? Like, is it all just one big scheme where like one hand washes the other? I wouldn't put it past them. I could not put it past them, rather.
Are they buying all these homes so people can't own them and they're just going to rent them?
Would you be excited if Trump did anything to rein in?
Well, of course. It's just...
It's a monopoly that needs to be broken up. Just like, remember the telephone company in the 80s, AT&T? That was broken up.
Yeah.
and that's what needs to be done.
Capitalism's not the problem. It's been corrupted to such a level, just like people think all the politicians are corrupted. But it's corrupted at the highest levels of these corporations, like you said, being owned. Instead of 200 of them, you're down to 4. That's a massive control.
You think somebody like Trump?
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Billions in the business. I mean, we're talking about really large monopolies here. He's more in there, period.
That's a really good point, right? Like, I mean, you have, like, how many Trump towers around the world? You know, like, can we look this up real quick? Around the world in 10 Trump towers. Yeah. So there's a lot of these. This guy, I mean, like, yeah, like, granted, you know, he doesn't obviously have billions, but his dad, what was the story with his dad, where his dad, like, owned, like, half of the fucking buildings that are around fucking Central Park. Like Trump's dad was like a massive real estate mogul, and then essentially, you know what I'm saying, I remember this one speech that Trump gave where he was like essentially saying that, like, you know, I'm not a daddy's boy, I didn't have my success handed to me, you know, all I did was get a simple, you know, $2 million loan from my dad to get things started. And it's just like, dude, that's not small. That's a big deal, bro. That's how big. And I get it. Maybe your dad was dealing in like fucking hundreds of millions, but still, dude, like, perspective's a bitch.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. Right.
He has a financial interest to do that kind of policy.
I always even consider Trump even like a crony capitalist. He's not perfect, you know what I mean? He was a capitalist guy, you know, and you know, everybody always read where he would eminent domain against take the lady, kick her out of her house for all that stuff. Yeah, that's falls into that. Like I said, I don't know, you know. I come to a Trump rally. Doesn't mean I think he's the greatest guy.
Can you really trust
there you go.
Billionaire? Help me understand why that's a thing for you.
Yeah, so with billion.
Faker Joe, is that what it says on his thing? Like Quaker Oats, and it's like Joe Biden's picture as the Quaker Oats guy. That's fantastic. That is a great shirt, dude. Like, fuck, dude. I mean, see, I'll be honest. Like, back when it was like Trump or Biden, I was like, nah, let's do Biden. I think Biden's gonna be the better option here. And and like now it's like neither of them. You know what I'm saying? Like they should have just kept Bernie in the running. Like things would be, I think at least things would be much better. I don't know. We'll never know. You know what they do instead to him? They gave him like special committee seats, right? Like I guess that's how they fucking, you know, after they gave him the heart attack, they're like, yeah, all right, listen. Since you played by the game, even though we almost had to kill you, we're gonna go ahead and let you sit on the top of these boards, so you can make real change for America. You can do something that counts, right, Bernie? He was like, okay, please don't do it again.
I would say honestly, no, you can't. I'll say with Trump, when he debated Hillary Clinton in 2016, she said all these things about the tax laws, all this, and Trump said, "Where have you been for 30 years? You know, you haven't done anything about it." And then he said, "I know you're not going to do it because all your donors who fund your campaign benefit from the same tax breaks and tax laws I do." Right. So whether it's left or right, these people, they're not really going to change the tax laws from the donors that are funding their campaign.
The power is so...
That is a very good point. I really thought he was going to go AWOL with that shit, but no, he brought that motherfucker home. That's exactly, like, what do you think is happening, bro? Like, they make the same amount of money from all these fucking whack sources. That's why I fucking love Bernie so much, goddammit. The American people are fucking foolish for having split the Democratic opinion, bro. You're so fucking, you're idiots. All of you are fucking idiots. This is the first guy who's literally launching his entire campaign on fucking crowdsourced funds. Not from no fucking super PACs, not from no fucking money interest. This guy was literally running his campaign on fucking donations, man. And you didn't let him have his time. You didn't let him shine. He would have debated this fucker into the ground. This is your fault. It's our fault. But yours more than mine.
So strong that these people have built up that, yeah, it's
God, he looks like he's about to cry. Shit makes me sad.
And I don't have answers, and because I know that's what you want. You know, you want to hear what can we do. I just don't think politics is going to do it. Just getting in like a civil war thing is just
ridiculous.
Who wants to do that kind of stuff? You know what I mean?
I'm kind of in the same place. I don't have the answers. Will politics do it? If politics doesn't do it, what else will? I look out at a couple 100,000 workers at UPS recently.
Yes. Did they vote on it yet?
So
Did
they
it
haven't
pass?
voted on it yet.
I heard about that.
It was negotiated, and there was, threat of the strike. They were really organized. They won $30 billion over the term of that contract.
Damn.
Being organized. So I look at something like that and say, if this is about control and about
so cute.
working class people having a seat at the table at a company as big as UPS, we just saw their unity win $30 billion worth of cash in the pocket. Does that sit well with folks?
Nonviolent direct action does work. We've been hearing all about the boycotts. You just mentioned the 100,000 people. That's a lot of people. You don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
This contract was $30 billion.
100%.
That was from workers standing together. Didn't have anything to do with government. Is that something you guys support?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, but I think the point he's trying to make here is that like when it comes to politicians running amok and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's always been up to the fucking people to make things right, and even to this day, it's still up to you and I to do something about it, get engaged or get active in one way or another to help change the problem instead of just sitting back and blaming everybody else for it.
Of course, absolutely. Wow.
So if my coworkers wanted to make more, and since I want to make more, I'll probably organize something that could help make us more, like maybe a petition.
Yeah, right. Or union activity.
Yes.
A lot of that. Yeah. And would you be really excited by Trump coming out and supporting workers who are doing that?
Yes.
Seeing Trump on a picket line?
Yes.
Yeah. Hot button.
You ain't gonna see that though.
You can't get away from them. You never hear about UPS.
Not today. No, honestly, I didn't know that until you told me.
Why do you think that is?
Well, they just made a big move doing that too.
Because who's running the show? Listen, we lost our republic decades ago. We're living in an oligarchy. So they're the ones calling the shots because that's where the money's come from.
Damn. Bro, if no one else has officially said it, this man just said it himself, bro. We lost our republic years ago. We are living in an oligarchy. That is 100% truth. Just about as fake as the elections are in Russia, like the fucking power scheme is here in America. It is, man. You know what? I genuinely agree with this guy that, like, yeah, bro, that's what America has turned to. It's just land of the rich where the poor get to work.
From the media, everybody.
You'll see things like the board or whatever they put on, the TV. You'll have
Or trying to divide people.
Yes.
A lot of the stories are trying to divide
exactly
people. to get them to
divide,
go
keep
against
them
each
off the
other.
ball.
Yeah, but hold on. But Trump is doing that shit too. Like, Trump is one of the most divisive figures in all of political history. Damn near. I'm not saying the most, but he's in modern day times, he is the most divisive figure in politics.
Yeah, it's weird that it's that.
They want. I
weird
feel like
that
this
we're
all for
talking
distraction, to be honest.
Yeah.
They want us to argue.
It is. That's
Yeah,
exactly.
They want us to
this
argue.
facade of
Yes.
or there's two sides when in reality there hasn't been two sides since the 1980s.
Yeah. Holy shit, bro. This guy is spitting fucking bars. There hasn't been two sides since the fucking 80s. It's just been the fucking rich, and that's it. Like, you think there's a left and a right, but they're really just taking turns. They're playing ping pong with who has the power and who gets more money. Whose turn is it to make a fucking billion off this deal? Whose turn is it to make a fucking trillion off the next?
These are just the conversations that we had at one Trump rally, but you saw it. It did not take long to find people who agree that politicians should reject the money from billionaires, should break up massive corporate monopolies, end forever wars, and join workers on the picket line. And you would never know that if you just watched Fox or CNN.
No.
So let's try a thought experiment. What would it look like if for this one presidential election we had conversations like these that focused on the working class, what they demand, what they need, what they deserve? What would the debates be about? What would the candidates' platforms be like? Who would ultimately win, and how would they be forced to deliver?
Man, these are very good questions. These are very good questions. Unfortunately, we're not gonna get that because it's the fucking news networks that are owned by fucking corporate media who are gonna be hosting the debates, and therefore it's their people asking the questions, so they get to pick the questions. And they're not gonna pick anything that disrupts the status quo. You understand? So It's like, I mean, where can you get an earnest debate? I mean, it would have to be like, you know, if Elon Musk decided to fucking host a presidential debate on Twitter live and he paid for it, and then he had, you know, questions coming fresh off of Twitter, you know, or X, I'm sorry. He had questions coming straight off of X, and people were like, oh, okay, well, this and that, and asking, you know, from the peoples, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you get like fucking like 20 questions and organize them based on like, you know, what topic are they generally talking about, and then you hosted that live. I think you need like independent media is one of the most important things in this day and age, because it's like the last good, it's the last source of good information. You know, everything else has an agenda behind it. Everything else has a side being played, and everything else is just about how much money you can make. You need people who do this kind of work, who want to do it and who cherish it and believe in what they're doing. And I just don't know if we're gonna get that anytime soon.